What's up, boys? Today we're back with another video, and today we're going to be checking out the changes to E-Road that have come with these preview tires. If you guys didn't know, basically E-Road in MX Bikes has been broken and a little bit backwards, or at least that's what, I've been told, and I haven't actually tested it. So as you can see, I've done about 35 laps or so on, this is the OEM bikes that you have, the public bikes, if you will. Okay, and we're gonna take a look at this E-Road, and then oh my gosh, I quadded that, and then I'm gonna switch to the preview bikes, and I'm gonna do about 35 laps as well, and then we're gonna talk about and look at side by side what the differences are, and I think that should be really cool. We'll see if there's any difference or if it is all the same, but I think there's going to be quite a huge difference that is going to be really important, I think, for the future of MX Bikes. So let's cut over to the preview bike. All right, boys, I'm here on the preview bike now, and we're just going to do about 30 laps again. I won't make you watch all of them, but we are going to do a bunch of laps, and we're going to see if the E-Road is different. Now, what has changed with the E-Road is that previously the E-Road was applied to the that's not a word, doc, applied to the point of least pressure. And unlike real life, where obviously when the tire digs in to the ground, that's where you would want the E-Road, because that's where it's digging in the most. So the point of most pressure, it actually wasn't eroding. And in Supercross, this was always kind of strange because it would erode towards the top of the jumps more than in the G routes, like in the bottom of the, like right here, right when you're in that jump. I wanted to see if I could quad that and I couldn't. It would never erode in the G outs. It would always erode at the top when the bike is kind of leaving the ground. And that was always really strange. That's also, I think, why you get a lot of those big kickers, and why E-Road and MX Bikes actually helps you a lot, and it will make you, like you can, when there's a rut, you can quad, and when there's not a rut, you can barely triple, kind of a thing. That's always been a thing in MX Bikes, and it's always been very strange. Nobody's liked it. Also with whoops, the whoops never really broke down because, when your back tire's hitting the whoop, it wasn't eroding as much because it was digging in. So now I think that should be changed. It should be backwards. Now I don't know why I can't talk. I just am special, I guess. That's all right. Also, I've seen a lot of people asking me to give my thoughts on the preview bikes. There has been no reason I haven't given my thoughts other than I wasn't in town. I did test them quite extensively last night, and I'm kind of in the same agreement with everybody else that 250s seem a bit slow, and I think that there should be a slight increase to rear end traction. Other than that, like the front ends and just kind of how you can spin the bike around now, I really like it. I think the 450s in Supercross are really fun. They're definitely, the 250s are definitely off a bit, in my opinion. I think I spent some time with JVDL last night, and I think we figured out, a good, I don't want to say solution, but I think we found something that felt pretty good that I know he's going to share with the OEM team. There just seems like the bike is just dragging a lot. Now, I noticed this on another Supercross track from Hell Machine that he was letting me test for a little bit, that there was a section that was 333. It was all 3-foot jumps, right? So they were all the same. The easiest jump for me on the preview bikes was the jump, like the triple in was the easiest one. And then it got progressively harder from there. And to me, that didn't make any sense, right? So going through a rhythm section, I think I should have more momentum because I'm coming down and I'm going forward, assuming I'm greasing it, right? Like if I clip, obviously we're going to lose momentum, but assuming I'm greasing the rhythm section, they should be just as easy, if not easier, as you go through the rhythm section. And again, assuming you're keeping your momentum, which, I've hit that section a million times. I was scrubbing the first one, trying to keep momentum, and it was like I could triple in, but I couldn't get the triple out, and that just didn't make a ton of sense to me. So sat with JVDL for a while. Seems like we kind of worked on some things, hopefully figured it out, and hopefully they like the solution that we offered. I still think it allows for, you know, the bikes are a lot slower. I don't think you realize how fast the public bikes are until you ride these, and then you get on the public bikes and you're like, holy cow, those things are freaking rocket ships. And there was still a very loose rear end, you know, a very realistic feeling rear end. Also, I don't know if you guys notice on these preview bikes, if you're trying to turn through, like, say, a roller section, the bike likes to swap a little bit. Like, it'll slide out and then it'll send you back. Say the rear end steps out to the right. In the roller, it'll hook at the top and then it'll kind of high side you to the left. Well, while that is, you know, realistic in a sense, it felt very not realistic because it was doing it every single jump, and it was like the top of the jump had 10 times as much traction as the face of the jump or the face of the roller, and so it was just a little strange. And I think that the fix that me and JVDL came up with helps with that. Again, I don't know if they're going to utilize this or what, but I think it's at least worth looking at. So anyway, I'm gonna cut now. We've done about 6 laps. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna do about 20 more. I'm gonna try to pick some different lines, and then we'll see. Oh my gosh, we'll see what the E-Road looks like in a little bit. All right, so I'll see you around lap 25. All right, boys, we're back at about 25 laps, and I want to show you this E-Road. Okay, I want to show you something like that. Look at this section right here. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. I'm coming off of that jump and landing right there, where the tire's really digging in. I'm typically either on the gas or on the brakes trying to make the corner. And look how big this rut is here for when we're landing. And then you get off the brakes and it seems to get a lot easier. I think that's really, really interesting. I have some side-by-side photos here that I will show in just a second that I think will really help kind of show exactly what the difference is. This is another area that I'll show some photos. But if you remember when I was on the Suzuki, this whole face of the jump right here was dug completely down. Now it's just digging out of the corner, and it seems to lighten up as you go up the face. Also, those Supercross tabletops there that you're landing on, those seem to be much like eroding way different. Anywhere your back tire's clipping, so like right there on that jump, it's actually eroding the face of the jump instead of just clipping. It wouldn't do that before. There are some places that actually seem to be pretty similar though. The corners are actually pretty similar, which is really interesting to me. I'm not really sure why they're exactly the same. They're not exactly the same. There's one corner in particular right before the finish that I'll show you. When you see the side-by-sides, it's kind of surprising. But all right, let's jump over to these side-by-sides right now. All right, boys, here we go. Check out this side-by-side here. The old's on the left, new's on the right. Look how much more the face of that jump is eroded on the old, and how, but like, look, it has a little kicker on the left there. All right, let's move on to another one here. Here is a rhythm section. Now, what I want you to pay attention to in the rhythm section is look at the old. There's like literally no E-Road at all in the G-outs, and look at the tops of the jumps there. That you can see when I clip, it erodes it. And I think that that's really, really cool. It's really interesting that there's no E-Road at all in the G-out at all. Okay, moving on to yet another one here. Look at the whoops. This is insane. Look how much more E-Road and more cupped out the whoops are on the right side. Now, this is like 10 laps less laps as well. It's actually kind of crazy. That's a huge difference to me. Moving on to one more. This is the corners. This is where I was kind of saying the corners actually don't seem to be that different, but it seems like the ruts are a little bit more defined, which you'll see here in a minute as well. Now we have another one. This is, again, I just want you to pay attention more. Look at the top of the tabletop that we land on. On the old, it kind of like cups out, and so there's almost like a little ramp that you jump off of. Now, as you can see, it doesn't do that on the new side. It's very interesting to me. And then moving on again, we have just another G out. Also pay attention to where I'm clipping at the very end there. You can see that the jump is actually eroding when I'm clipping, which I think is really, really interesting. And then our last photo here is just kind of showing how defined the corners can be, which is really interesting because I feel like my rear end is sliding around a lot more, but I was trying to do 2 lines in this corner in both videos or in both, in both tests. And clearly under the new, it's just way more defined. And I think that's really, really cool. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.